guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today's video is on book recommendations and my favorite journals. So if you saw the blog post on my website about finding your inspiration, then this will definitely make sense. It matches up with that. And if you haven't seen it, stay tuned. I think this video will be useful, and definitely go check out the blog post because I think they're pretty cool. It's a series, so there's multiple ones. So I'm going to start with my favorite journals first. So this is definitely one of my favorites. It's a Me Goals journal, and so the sticker didn't come with it, it was just blue. I put the sticker on there. And so how it works is it has different pages. So in the beginning you start off with, there's 3 pages of like goal setting. So there's 3 different ones, and so this is one of mine, and it just kind of starts out with, what's the name of your goal? Is it a short goal, 1 to 12 weeks, or is it a 3 to 6 month goal, and you check off which one. And then, ignore my messy handwriting, and then it gives you like a description of it and the top 3 milestones that you want to check off, and then, you know, just a list of things to do to get there. And then on the bottom it has what you're going to reward yourself with and the outcome. I never wrote in the outcome. Oops. Anyways, so there's 3 pages of those. So you're going to set 3 different goals throughout this whole journal, and I believe it's a 3-month journal. Hold on, let me check. This is definitely one of the older ones, but it's one of the ones that I definitely remember using and loving. So it's a 90-day journal. Yeah, so around 3 months. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. After the 3 goal pages, there's a monthly planning page, and after that you kind of like every day you have a page where you kind of set different goals. So it starts out with, what's your focus, being positive maybe, and then it goes on to 3 things you're grateful for the day, how you want to feel during the day, at the end of the day, like do you want to be productive, do you want to be happier, do you want to be more enthusiastic, things like that. And then it has your main goal right here, you can see it, and then every single page has a quote. So the quote on this one is, anything's possible if you've got enough nerve, by J.K. Rowling. I'm sorry if I said her name wrong. I feel like I did. Anyways, it also helps you to create habits. So there's 3 different habits here that you want to create throughout the week, throughout the day. And you can change them throughout the book. And then it just has like daily notes over here. And then you're going to be like, today I felt. So it's kind of like, your goal was to feel this way, how did you actually feel? And then your top 3 wins of the day. So on this day I did the chemistry extra credit, and I had some extra skating opportunities, and I finished a John Maxwell book. And then after that, it says, in this moment I am, and so you're filling this part out at night, by the way, I forgot to include that. And it's just kind of like rating your day and how you've been, and if you actually achieved your goal or not, or how close you are to it. And so that's pretty much throughout the whole book. And then at the end of the book, it has, if I can find it. Okay, it has a bunch of note pages, which I didn't fill up, I didn't really use. Oops, I mean you're supposed to. And it also has goal 1, 2, and 3, and you're going to fill it out and kind of see like what the outcome is, the date that you completed it, and if it's still ongoing or when you actually finished it. And then there's a quote here. So yeah, what you get by achieving your goals is not as important as what you get by achieving your goals. I think that one's a typo. Hold on, let me find a better one. Progress is impossible without change, and those who cannot change their minds cannot change anything, by George Bernard Shaw. So, yeah. It also has, right before that, a 90-day review where you write stuff like this. So, top 3 things you accomplished in the past 90 days. How do you feel about your progress so far? Just questions like that. So, it's a very organized journal. It has stuff written out for you already, which I love that I didn't have to think about, what I wanted to put in a journal, but, what I wanted to be able to write down. It just kind of had it for you already, which I thought was nice. So again, Me Goals, it's one of my favorite. It's the progress journal. It has 2 little tab things, which I love. So I kept one on the monthly planner and then the daily thing. That's what I use those for. And then I only have 3 journals, so if this is long, don't worry. Yeah, the journal part is almost over. I'll get on to the books. So next, this is just a plain journal I picked up somewhere. It's like a bullet journal. It literally has blank pages. As you can see, I'm not all the way through it yet. I'm still working on it, but this is my monthly journal. So what I've done is I've just kind of done goals for each month. So as you can see, I've done what my goals were at the beginning of the month, the goals that I actually achieved, books I've read, and then my goals for next month, and then a quote that I liked. And then this is mine for May, which it's May right now, so I only have my goals for this month filled in because, I haven't finished the month. That's what I'm using this journal for, is just like a monthly basis, which it's not like an everyday thing, so it's not helping me keep on top of stuff too much, but at the end of the month, when you look at things through an overview, it's easier to see your progress and see hey, I'm actually not doing so bad, so I don't need to be as hard on myself as I am. Or maybe, hey, I didn't reach nearly as many goals as I wanted to, so I need to pick up the pace. Obviously, you're not going to reach all your goals, but it's a way to check yourself. So that's my second journal, and then the third one is this one. So my dad actually gave me this. He gave me the Me Goals journal too, but he recently gave me this one, so I'm still working through this one. It's called Daily Kairos, and again, it has 2 little tabs. I love the tabs. They're my thing, and I love when you can close the journal. And there's purple, which for those of you that don't know, purple is one of my favorite colors, so I love it. Anyways, at the beginning, it is a Christian journal, so it has prayer in it and stuff like that. So it tells you in the beginning, it has having a plan how to pray. It gives you a little instruction on what the journal's about and why you should be reading the Bible daily and stuff like that. And then it actually has a diagram for you about what the daily page looks like. So this is what a daily page looks like. I'll go and show you one of mine real quick. Yeah. I'm going to cover this section because those are prayers and that's between me and the Lord. Anyways, so it's just kind of like that. Really simple, really easy, memorizing a verse at the top, or for me, I've just started putting in notes for from my Bible study that I'm reading, because I don't know why I just changed it to that. But then there's a gratitude section, and you just list 3 things or more that you're grateful for, and then prayer, and then today I will ... And then you write down your goals, what you're planning on doing. And then on the next page, it says Kairos, and that's where you write kind of what you noticed throughout the day, what pointed out to you. So let's say you realized maybe, I don't know, you're traveling too much on your sit spin, or something like that, how you're going to fix it. And then there's also a spot for where you write down what God's pointed out to you throughout the day. So you're with someone, maybe you need to meet for tongue twisted, you need to be more honest with them or something like that. And then there's a reflection page and a weekly reflection page. So this is week 6. I haven't gotten to week 6, but this is what the page looks like. So you write down your kairos for each day here, or the main point that you realized, and then your revelation of the week, like what you mainly noticed, what like you're focusing on, and then how you drew closer to God this week and your verse memorized, which I think is really cool. So this is another one of my favorites. So those are my top 3 journals. Now moving on to books, I do have quite a few. So I'm going to start with my main recommendations. So again, this is a series about finding your inspiration, right? So these are self-growth books. They're not meant to be lightly taken. So with that being said, here's one of the first ones I have. I don't have the cover anymore. I don't really know what happened to it. But it says the 7 highly effective teens. The 7 habits of highly effective teens personal workbook. So it is a personal workbook, so I'm not showing you anything inside, but it has like pages where you can write on, and it has like little reading sections and, you know, just areas where you can reflect on your growth, and it teaches you a few things throughout. And honestly, I think this is a good book to start with. He also has ones for adults and younger kids depending on your age, so this is just one that I started out with, and it is a good one to start with. I said that way too many times, but we're gonna ignore that. Moving on, I've mentioned this one in my podcasts before. Pretty sure I mentioned it in one of my blog posts. It is a favorite of mine. It's a John Maxwell book, so The 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth. It is amazing. It really jumpstarts the way you think, the way you grow, the way you process your growth in your mind. So I'm pretty sure I've talked about this enough in my podcasts for you guys to get the idea of this book, but it's one of my favorites. It's highly recommended. Throughout the book, it has 15 laws, right? And it goes through each one and tells you why each one's like. It's just, I highly recommend it. It jump-started my growth. It made me realize that failure isn't failure, and it's an opportunity to learn. And once you realize that, then you can pretty much do anything and fail, and it's not a failure because you're learning from it, and you'll eventually get it and move on. So, da-da-da! Yes. Also, if you guys want to check Amazon or links down below, I will link them in the description so that you can find where to buy these. Obviously, local Barnes & Noble has them, or your local bookshop might have them. But if you want to do it from online, I'll definitely link that. Probably mostly Amazon. I don't know. You'll see. And then this next one isn't a self-growth book, but it is one as a figure skater that I found inspirational and I loved it. It doesn't have the cover either because actually the cover, the inside of it, was a poster of Karen Chen and it had her signature on it, so it's on my wall over there. But anyways, it's purple, my favorite color, and it's Finding the Edge. My Life on the Ice by Karen Chen. So it's kind of like her personal little story about how she grew up, how she became a skater, and what she went through. And it definitely talks about her foot injury as well in there. And it talks about changing rinks, changing coaches, and you know, a lot of things she goes through and how she pushed through all of that and still became a champion. So highly inspirational. I loved it. It was amazing, and I'm flinging this around a lot. So I'm gonna sit it down before I throw it at something. Yeah, definitely recommend that, especially if you're a figure skater. It's really inspirational, and I loved it. Moving on from that, here's another book, but it's not like necessarily a book, so I'll show you a page. This is day 52. I didn't write in it. I wrote on a separate piece of paper because this is also one of my dad's books that I kind of stole from him. But it's called Jumpstart Your Thinking. It's a John Maxwell book. As you can tell, I love John Maxwell. He's a great leader. He's a great speaker, and anything from him I would recommend you to read. Definitely some books sound repetitive after reading the others because it does have a lot of repeated ideas, and yeah. The ones I'm recommending here are my favorite ones though, so I would listen to my recommendation. I don't know, you don't have to. But anyways, it has like a little reading, and then it has a prompt and a thingy right here, and it's 90 days, really simple, you know, just making a list of, like day 1 it says, make a list of words that describe your thoughts and feelings. Circle the negative ones and make a decision to start improving them. So it's really just like helping you organize your thoughts, and really simple. Okay, and then after that, this one sounds cheesy and I hesitated to read it at first, but once you read it, it is pretty good. I mean, it has a lot of quotes in it and a lot of things that, it does sound cheesy, but they are inspirational. So this is Happiness A through Z, The Gleeful Guide to Finding and Following Your Bliss by Louise Baxter Harmon. So there's her name, there's the book. This one has the cover on it. I know, a miracle, right? I always lose covers, I don't know why. Anyways, it has little sections where it talks about certain things, and then it has quotes that go along with that section. So I do a weekly quote on Mondays on my Instagram, and this book is where I get a lot of my quotes from. It's definitely where I go when I need a quote that I'm just having a bad day and I need something to inspire me or get me motivated. It's a very easy book to read too because there are so many quotes, and the reading sections aren't too long, so if you don't like reading but you want to find your inspiration somehow, and reading is a great way to do that, I would recommend this book. We only have a few more, so hang in there. I know these are a lot. My stack's getting a little tall there. So I have this one. Ego is the enemy. So I'm still reading this in the moment. I haven't finished it. It's a book I'm currently working on. And so far, I think I'm only on like page 37. Yeah, I'm on page 37. But I decided to include this in the video because I have found it a really good source of inspiration. Like this month, it's a good book. It's a good book, recommended. It has a lot of things about Greek mythology and philosophy and stuff in it, so it is definitely a more sophisticated book. But it has some really great main points in it, and it talks about history and how people who have succeeded in the past could succeed now as well, and why, and you know, how we can succeed by following their example. So recommended. Here's Ryan Holiday, and here's his book, Ego is the Enemy. Yeah, it's a good book. It was one that I just picked up randomly, and I'm glad I did. So, the next one, Encouragement Changes Everything by John C. Maxwell. It's a thinner book, so again, if you don't like reading, this is one I would pick up. It does have a few Christian Bible verses and quotes in it, but it also has like a lot of other things in it, so if you don't like that, that's okay, because like, you know, there's just like a quote here and there. You don't have to like right here. It's still a good book, even if you're not a Christian or if you don't believe in religion. it's still amazing and can teach you tons of things. And it has like little sections where it has a quote and then it has a little reading section. It's very short, so it's definitely good for those of you that don't like to read and are just looking for something to start with. And it talks about how if you encourage someone, that can change their day and make them keep going, and they will encourage you at the same time. And how there's another section where it talks about how you need encouragement and how you can find your encouragement and how you need to be with people that will encourage you. Otherwise, it's going to be hard to keep going. It's like walking with weights versus just running without anything. So, definitely a good book. I definitely recommend it. It's a good starter book. It's really small. It's only like 126 pages. 126, but like again, most of those pages are like scenery with a few quotes. So yeah, definitely a good starter. Moving on is 25 Ways to Win with People by John C. Maxwell. I know most of these are his books, but honestly, when I started reading self-improvement books to help myself be motivated and just improve, I found that his books are really amazing and really reliable, and they have a lot of good content in them. So I'm recommending him for a reason, because they're my favorite, and I found that they have like the most, not necessarily correct content. I mean, it is correct, but there are other books that also have correct content, but it's written in a way where it's easier to understand, and it just really grabs and pulls at you. So, at least it did for me. 25 Ways to Win with People. I had to look at the cover. I forgot which book I was talking about for a second. This one talks about how to deal with people in a setting, how to work in groups, if you're a leader, how to lead and just make sure that your group is going in the right direction. Bookmark. I bookmark my favorite sections in each book, so if you've seen things falling out of other ones, that's why. So anyways, it has like sections where you read, but it also has quotes in like different places. So this quote says, "You can get everything in life you want if you will just help enough other people to get what they want," by Zig Ziglar. So, there's a bunch of parts in it. It's also co-written by Les Parrott, so it has multiple points of view, and I think it's amazing. This is another good one to start with because it's like smaller. It's not too big. It is, the page count shouldn't matter, but it kind of does, I guess. Those are acknowledgements. Okay, so it's 176 pages long. So it's not too long. It's not like 400 pages or like 1,000. But it is definitely a thicker book for those of you that are trying to find something easier to start with. So I think it's more of an intermediate level, if that makes sense. And then I just have one more, so hold on. The Difference Maker from John C. Maxwell. So this one is about your attitude and your view on life. So, it's really cool. So I'm gonna read a little bit from the back because I think the back is pretty cool. How can two people with the same skills and abilities in the same situation end up with two totally different outcomes? Leadership expert John C. Maxwell says the difference maker is attitude. For those of you who have wondered what may be separating them from achieving their kind of personal and professional success they've always dreamt of, Dr. Maxwell has some words of insight. Your attitude colors every aspect of your life and is like the mind's paintbrush. So that's the first two little sections on the back. I have to say that this book is definitely one that will make you struggle and think about yourself a lot. It's one that will point out your flaws in your thinking, but that is a good thing. It's a little bit of a struggle because no one wants someone to point out, their failures, their flaws, but it's definitely good. So let's say you have an argument with someone and you think of them in a bad way. It's one of those books that you'll think back to it in that moment and be like, oh shoot, I gotta check my attitude on that. So it's definitely taught me how to keep looking at the positives and keep going, and to just really focus on the things that matter and not get distracted on the things that, yes, are frustrating and difficult and annoying, but they're distractions. They've been put in my way, and if I ignore them or just face them head on and solve them immediately instead of, avoiding them, being petty, then it'll just work out better in my favor and in the other person's favor. And you really never know what could be going on in their head, and they don't know what's going on in yours. So, attitude checker, the difference maker. It also isn't just calling you out. It has some really good passages about principles and how other people think. So it kind of talks about how the way that people think and the way that humans in general tend to focus on certain things, and how we tend to only focus on a certain part of an aspect or of an event. So yes, I recommend this. It's good. So I know I said I recommend all of them, and that's because I do. This is a recommendation video, but I will rank them now so that you know which ones I think you should start with. So if you're someone who doesn't like to read, I know I've already said a few that are good. But I'm gonna put them in order now because I hate when I have to go back in a video and be like, what did they say? What was the book called or anything? So I'm just gonna do a quick little review. So the top 3 that I would start out with, if you don't like reading and you don't read these kinds of books, or maybe you're just kind of scared and don't know where to start, because definitely these books can be intimidating and daunting. They do call you out in some parts. So again, Encouragement Changes Everything by John C. Maxwell is one I would start with. Happiness A through Z is easy to read and a good motivator. It doesn't call you out too much, so if you want a book that is going to keep you motivated, happy, and inspirational, but not be completely life-changing and just help you improve little by little, this would be the book to go to for me. And then The Personal Workbook by Sean Covey. I would definitely recommend. It has, again, it's you write in it. It has spots for everything. It doesn't have too much reading. It's more of a journal type thing. And it definitely, it's not too intense, but it will challenge your thinking a little bit and the way you view things. So definitely a recommendation. Another easy one that if you don't like reading, I would start with. Again, there's not too much reading because this part's where you write. And there's little pictures in it and stuff. Fun. And then after that, one that I would put that is easier, Finding the Edge by Karen Chan. So again, it's not a self-growth book. It's just her story, which I find inspirational, especially if you're a figure skater. It will show you how to keep pushing through things, keep pushing through hard times, and how she became a champion, how she pushed through, changed coaches, had a foot injury, and kept going. Oh, there's a little stain. My poor book. Oh well. Yeah. So those first 4 are really easy to read. I would go to those if you're new to this or you've never done a self-growth book. And now moving on to like intermediate slash getting more into it level. Honestly, on all levels though, I would recommend this book, The 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth, because it's not too hardcore. It is thicker, so it takes a while to get through, but it isn't, calls you out, but in a nice way. So it's not too daunting or mean or like discouraging. And I actually found it really inspirational and motivational. Like I'd be reading it and he'd say something and be like, oh shoot, I need to work harder on that. Or like it'll talk about how if you really love something, you're gonna go after it with your whole heart, and if you want to succeed, you can't be scared of what other people think. You have to push through and work as hard as you can. In moderation, don't overwork yourselves. But I would be reading that and I'd realize my coach told me to do off ice tonight and it's 9 o'clock and I haven't done anything. I'm just sitting here reading. So I'd continue with doing a plank or doing a wall sit while I read, or like doing something, or I'd get like an exercise band and just put it around my legs and do those clam things. I don't know what they're called. So I think you get the idea, right? But it definitely is motivational without being harsh. And another intermediate one I would say is 25 Ways to Win with People. Again, I don't have the cover for this one. I seriously, I can never keep covers. I'm telling you, it's a problem. But intermediate, 2 points of view, 2 people wrote it together. And it's very good for working in group settings. If you want to become a coach, or if you're interning or helping out at your rink, it's a good one to read on how to deal with people, negative people, positive people, how to lead a group, how to follow in a group, how to support your leaders, or how to become a leader yourself. So it's a good book for group settings or family settings. Again, even if you're not a skater, this can work in a workplace. It can work for anything. And another one that I would recommend for a medium level would be Jumpstart Your Thinking. It's a good journalistic one. Actually, I'd probably recommend this for people who don't like reading, or for like a beginner, because you don't have to read a lot and it's really simple, although it does challenge you a little bit and call you out a little bit. So if you're okay with that, this is a good starting book. So I kept it more towards intermediate because it does call you out and not necessarily in too nice of a way. But it's not necessarily mean either. Now, a harder book to read, I would say, is The Difference Maker. It's not hard as in like level-wise or reading-wise. It's hard as in it calls you out. It makes you realize that, maybe you're having a beef with someone that you shouldn't be, or you're mad at someone for absolutely no reason at all. It definitely calls out the way you think, your attitude, the way you process life. And it definitely points out all the ways you're thinking negatively, but it definitely will help you think more positively. So if you're struggling with, depression or anxiety or something, this is a good book. It is a little harsh, but it's a good book to make you figure out how you think and figure out how you work specifically, because not everyone thinks the same way. So it's good for changing the way you think and changing your processes to help you be more productive, positive, and overall happy. So yeah. And now, one of the most difficult books in this whole section is Ego is the Enemy. Just because it has a lot of philosophy and it talks about history throughout it. It's not necessarily too long of a book, but it is a harder reading, and it does call you out a lot. So it's a little mean, but it is a good book, so I do recommend it. And then, yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching. Subscribe if you haven't. Make sure to like the video if you found it informational or you liked it, and even if you didn't like it, please like it, because, if you've watched this far, why not? And then if you want to get notifications, make sure to hit the bell and subscribe. My next video will probably be on vocab and skating things, because a lot of people listening to my podcast or on my Instagram don't necessarily know which jumps in skating I'm talking about when I mention a Salchow, an axel. So I'll probably do an instructional video on that, so look forward to that. If you're new, make sure to go check out my Instagram at Rainy Days Skating and my podcast at Rainy Days Skating, which can be found on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and pretty much anywhere you listen to podcasts. The host for it is Anchor, so if you go and listen on Anchor, I would really appreciate it. Other than that, I'm pretty sure that's it. So have a good day. Thank you for listening and watching. Hope to see you next time. Bye.